Afternoon, everyone. Peng Xiong here again. Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay. Today we'll talk about my past experience after bringing so many groups of what normally people encounter. Okay. So first part is on how to plan and recce. Okay, you may plan and know when is the best time to go and shoot. So sometimes when you're at a location, if you got the luxury to go around in the daytime to figure out where to shoot, is still the best because you want to know exactly which angle is the best and what to look out for. Like for example, in Bromo, okay, this place actually in the daytime doesn't look very fantastic one. It's a very simple thing, but the thing is that you must. I saw this house and I find it quite nice on the daytime, so I just walk around and see which are the possible angle I can shoot this place and where the Milky Way will be at what time for the day lah. So actually I noticed this place I can shoot on the this place is actually on the road, okay, which means cars will pass by along the road. So this angle is just nice, but you must look out for cars. Okay. Then actually at the back of the house, you could also shoot the Milky Way when the Milky Way rise to a certain angle. Because when you rise to a certain angle, this you can't see the Milky Way with this view anymore. You have to go to the back of the house. And happen at the back of the house also have some place where you can stand and shoot. And with the house as well. And some paddy field. Okay. And for this shot in Bodo, it's very challenging to shoot this one because it's my first time there and I don't know what's the regulation there. So what I did is I bought an entrance ticket to this place for sunset. So during the sunset timing, I got 2 hours. I wander around and find out which location, which particular spot, the angle of view that I want, okay, and where the Milky Way will be. Okay. Because when I was there, I noticed that this place only opens at 4:30 in the morning. They don't allow you to stay overnight. And sunrise is around 5 a.m. So it's in blue hours around 5 a.m. So it means if it's open at 4:30 until 5 a.m. for 30 minutes. Okay. So and the entrance from the entrance to this spot is at least more than 15 minutes of running and climbing, because you have to run from the gate to the stairs. Because from the gate to the part where there's stairs, like, it's at least 5 to 10 minutes. Then to climb up at least 3 flights of stairs, which is very tall and hard to find. So you have to at least estimate around 15 minutes for you to run all the way to this place and set up. So you got no opportunity to go and find out where is the best place anymore. So that's why lucky I went there before sunset to check the place, found a location that I find that I want the place. So first thing in the morning, the gate open, I run all the way to this spot, set up and shoot. So I only get 3 or 4 photos of this, that's all. So that's why recce and planning is very important for you to have a nice foreground and the location. Because sometimes the spot may, the places that you go may change over time. So for example, this, especially the house on the left, the first few times I went there is still there, but I think the subsequent time I went there, there's a lot of mess around the place. That they stock out a lot of rubbish there, so it's not very nice anymore. So that's why it's very important to, if you can, go to a spot beforehand to take a look. Okay.
Yes. The house on the left, that one reminds me of Pulau Ubin, you know. Yeah. Looks like you know, I don't know, but we were also talking, right, of doing an astrophotography trip to Pulau Ubin once the restriction has been relaxed a little bit more. Yeah, so
Yes.
that you know, we can do also a recce and some of the Milky Way shots over there. But I think,
Yes.
unfortunately, because the session is or the Milky Way is actually coming to an end now, so we can only do it like beginning of next year. I think in February or March, right? Yeah. So
yeah, February, March.
So everyone, wherever you are and you can hear this, so do do look out at our website toplinersclub.com, because this is the time where we have to bring our cameras to work after that. Okay, so I think about February or March, do keep a close lookout, because that's the time where we will start some of this astrophotography session. And we are actually thinking of Pulau Ubin, because of you have minimum light pollution over there. And it'll be something like an overnight trip. Okay, so we go there like just before dinner, or just before the last ferry goes to the island, and then we can come back in the morning. Okay, yeah. So do keep a lookout for that. Yeah. All right, Peng Xiong, let's
Okay.
continue.
Yeah. So always do some planning and recce.
Mm,
Okay, even on the spot itself. Then other than knowing the place, okay, as just how I mentioned, like in the place where I need to run for 15 minutes from the gate to the spot I want to shoot, and I got left 15 minutes to shoot. So which means the setting up speed and composition need to be very fast. So it's very critical. Like this kind of situation, you must set up very fast. You get what shot, what angle you want, and then shoot. That's all. There's no time to think how you want to compose. Okay. So in order to ease your speed of setting up, okay, so the choice of tripod is very important also. It's like you must be able to handle the tripod that you have. It's not advisable to go on a trip with a new tripod they have not used before. Like tripod, basically there's two different types. One is those that not very turn and tighten or loosen, and one is the clip type. Okay, for me I prefer the clip type because it's easy to unlock and lock. Okay, the ones are not, you have to spend some time to lock it. And sometimes if you lock it in the wrong direction, instead of locking it, you're loosening it. So it's like you need to spend some time figuring out how to use it as well. And some tripods, even before you set up, you need to open up more things than normal usual tripod. So the choice of tripod is very important to me. Okay, so to me up to now, I still prefer those clip type. I have used a few those that need to turn the knot one. I don't really like it because I always got the wrong direction, and instead of tightening, I'm loosening it. Okay, or make it even more tighter. Okay, and the choice of yes, sir.
yeah, sorry, just to sorry to interrupt you, but just to check with you, right? Because some of the places where we will go, okay, and then there are many different types of tripod, like the carbon fiber, you know. There's also the aluminum tripod, for example, okay, and some people might choose to take the aluminum tripod instead because it's lighter, okay. And would you recommend that actually?
But actually, to me, aluminum or carbon fiber doesn't matter. As long as it suits your needs. Okay, and the height of the tripod also important, not
Right.
too low. Yeah, and the thing is that the tripod sometimes if it's too heavy, you'll be lazy to carry it around.
Yeah, so I think that actually the tripod is the most important equipment other than your camera, because if the tripod is not stable enough, you know, then your shots won't turn out good actually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then why this question is because if, for example, somebody take the tripod to a very cold country, I think the aluminum tripod may stick to the hands, you know, once it gets too cold. Yeah. So which is the reason why I think that if you can, you should look at the carbon fiber tripod, because they are both light, and then it also helps against you know, the insulation part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
when you handle the carbon fiber tripod, you must be careful. Do not drop it.
Yeah. Okay, that's a very good tip.
Yeah, it breaks easily.
Yes. Yeah. So that's something that everyone will have to take note of it. Okay. So how do you actually pack the tripod? Do you pack it into the luggage, or do you hand carry onto the flights?
Okay, because the tripod that I'm carrying is quite long after even collapsing.
Yeah.
So typically my luggage cannot handle the tripod. So I
Right.
need to split the ball head, the tripod head, and the tripod. Then I can fit my luggage.
Right.
And if you can't put it straight, you have to put it slanted diagonally across the luggage. And
Okay.
normally I pack two tripods in my luggage. So I have one long one is I fit diagonally across the tripod, the luggage, and one that can go straight on the side of this luggage.
Ah, okay.
And a lot of countries, they don't allow you to hand carry your tripod.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a very good tip.
especially when you go Japan.
Right.
Yeah, their transit flight, they don't allow you to carry the tripod on the hand
Mm.
carry. They make sure you check in.
Yeah,
So
they're
if you
just
don't pack it in the
worried
bag,
that
yeah,
they worry you will carry it as like a weapon there.
yes, or maybe hurt someone.
Mm.
I think Vietnam also same thing. Vietnam, I've encountered Vietnam, Japan, Bromo so far I haven't encountered yet.
Mm.
But to play safe, it's always good to pack it in your luggage.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to our friends, yeah, if you're carrying your tripod overseas, okay. Last time I remember that also because I can carry it out, like in a tripod bag, but not anymore. I think they are getting stricter in terms of the airport security. So you must be able to find a luggage that is big enough to put your tripod in. Okay. Yeah. So that is a tip that we can also offer you for this.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you.
Typically, a medium size will be okay. Medium
Mm.
size will be enough.
Yes. Okay. So let's proceed with the choice of the tripod head. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah, it's okay. So for choice of tripod head, because it's the one that actually holds your camera. So it's important that it can handle your camera weight. So that at least you put on the tripod, the tripod head, the camera won't move around easily, even if it's locked. Because if the tripod head cannot handle your camera weight with the lens, even you tighten it, sometimes it may get loose and move a bit. Okay? And using a good tripod head, right, allows you to set up faster as well. As I shared in my previous session, I prefer to use this geared ball head, whereby the adjustment of the angle that I want to achieve for composition is very easy. Because once I can use the knob to just turn to how much I want and how much I want to go left, go right, or forward, backwards. Okay, so it's very important to choose one that you know how to use. Okay, and can help you speed up your this setup. Okay, and there's one more common problem that I encounter when I'm on trip is that a lot of my participants forgot to bring their tripod plate. This is a very common problem. Okay, that's why it's very important to always bring this, put it on your tripod. Okay? If not, it's on the camera. Do not put it anywhere that you may miss it. Okay, and good thing is that if you try to choose a tripod head with a mount that is common to most people's, okay, it's much more easier to borrow a tripod plate. But sometimes some people may carry extra. Like for example, myself, I carry at least 2 extra, even though I don't need. I carry the extra mainly is for me to mount my long lens. Because when I shoot the landscape with a 70-200 mm lens, I don't mount my camera on the tripod. I mount the lens on the tripod head. So it's more stable.
So, Peng Xiong, when you mention this, you say that carry or rather you get a tripod head that is of a more common standard that other photographers are using, right? So what are you
Yes.
referring to? Is that the Swiss mount?
Yes, Akashi mount is basically quite more or less a generic mount that most tripod head uses.
Right.
Be it China brand or US brand, any brand, commonly they use this Akashi mount, which is very a good standard that most of the tripod uses.
Yeah. So to our friends here, if you are thinking of getting a tripod head, do look out for one that is using a Swiss mount. Because there are actually other standards out there. For example, like the Manfrotto could use a different mount, the Manfrotto mount, or the Gizzo has the Gizzo mount. Okay, so if you get a Gizzo ball head, for example, or Manfrotto ball head, and then you forgot to bring your tripod plate, okay, then technically quite good luck to you. But if you get an Swiss one, and then you are with Peng Xiong on the trip, do remember to ask him, okay? I'm sure you'll have 1 or 2 on standby.
Yes, I do have
Okay.
extra. Yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Peng Xiong. I think that is quite a golden tip to our friends here. Okay.
Yes. Because it happened to me before, long time back when I was learning photography. So it burned into my brain already.
I'm sure this happened to everyone, It's just like, for example, you can be a seasoned traveler, but sometimes you just forgot to bring your passport to the airport. Yeah, so that will happen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Knowing your gear basically is very important in setting up, especially your tripod head. Okay. Anything that you is that's linked to your camera, even the intervalometer, the cables, the connection. Okay. Because most of the time you need to set up all this in the dark, and you don't want to like carry a torchlight and then shining at the place that you're setting up. Sometimes carrying a torchlight and setting up is very difficult. Even if you have unless you carry those with a headlamp, maybe it help a bit. But you still need to shine at the place that you're setting up. So by knowing your gear, you can operate in most of the time in the dark. Because we are shooting astro. Astro normally happen in the dark. So you must know all this. Even you can like handling in the dark. So if you don't see, you also can feel a bit. Okay, so it help you in setting up easily and not film too much clumsiness and all. Okay? And that's why I think it's linked to the previous ones that you must learn how to set up your gear in the dark. Okay, with minimum light use. Okay, even if you have torchlight, sometimes torchlight may have you actually blind you in the dark. So actually, it's good to learn how to set up everything and operate in the dark. Okay, and especially your camera. Okay, you must what's your camera settings? That's when you're setting up. Okay, mostly you need to set up the tripod. Second thing, you need to set up your camera focusing. So that part you need to be fast in setting up the focusing as well. And the camera the camera settings, and the buttons where they are, and which buttons for what. Sometimes if you memorize the position, like get used to the position, like make yourself faster in setting up, especially setting the ISO, the aperture, the shutter speed. But sometimes this one can be set in advance before you went to a place, but it's still good to know how to find these places, these buttons in the dark. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, and testing your focus in advance. Okay, because focusing is very important in shooting astro. Sometimes you may not have the luxury of time to test it when you're there. So normally, if you can, you test your infinity in the daytime, and if you can, maybe if you have not no shoot before from sunset until the astro shoot, you can actually test it out the focusing, then use a tape, okay, the masking tape or gaffer tape, tape the focusing ring, okay, so that it won't move. Then when you go to the spot you want to shoot astro, you can safely say that this focusing is good. Okay, so this actually helps in a lot of ways, okay, and prevent you from getting blur picture as well.
Mm. So when you mentioned about taping, is taping at in the infinity mark, right? So where your lens focus at
Yeah,
infinity.
yeah.
Mm.
Once you find the mark, you can tape it to the lens so it won't move anymore. So
Right.
because you're not shooting anything between the sunset until the next shoot, right? So you can take that and safely say that this is quite a good. Or
Right. So one of the most important tools for an astrophotographer that is not photography related is the gaffer tape or the masking tape that you must have it in your bag, right?
yes, I always have a one small roll of gaffer tape. A small
Okay.
roll will do
Right.
because this gaffer tape don't need a scissors. You can just tear it and then tape it. Then after
Mm.
use, can take it out and throw away. But it doesn't leave a stain if you leave it for a while.
Yeah. So it's important to get a tape that doesn't leave a stain like the gaffer or
Uh,
masking tape if it's just for a short period, it's okay lah, you know.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So
But
don't get any other tapes. That's too
yes,
sticky.
they're too sticky. Yeah, and
Yeah.
gaffer tape. One thing good is that it can fix a lot of things. Sometimes something break, you can just temporarily fix it by tapping there.
Mm.
So it's a good quick fix for having a gaffer tape along
Yeah.
with you.
So that's golden tip number 2. Very good. Let's move
Okay,
on.
okay. And camera settings. Okay, because by knowing your camera setting well is very important.
Mm.
Okay, especially I encounter this problem every time, every trip. Not always have this problem every trip. Okay, a lot of time participants tell me how come my shots take so long to expose. Okay, because our shots basically is between 20 seconds to 30 seconds per shot. Then I check, okay, because they on this function on the camera. It's called long exposure noise reduction. NR stands for noise reduction. Okay, this long exposure NR, how it works is that it tries to do a second exposure of your picture, okay, with the shutter closed, okay, immediately after your photo. So for example, if you take a picture that's 30 seconds, what the camera will do is immediately after your shot, it will close the shutter and try to expose the sensor for 30 seconds again. And they use that picture to overlay over your previous picture to reduce the noise. Okay, this is basically it's the old way of reducing sensor noise. Okay, and this is not really essential when you do astro. Okay, so if you it's good that you know and find out how to turn off this on your camera.
Yeah, I think this is also a very good tip because imagine if you are doing a much longer exposure. So some people, I don't know, maybe for some reasons they are still doing very long star trail, maybe an hour or things like that. So if you imagine you on your camera for 1 hour, and then the camera will try to do another exposure for another hour, and then it's only that after that, on the mark of the third hour, then you will have control back of your camera again. Yeah, so if halfway you turn off your camera, then good luck, you technically waste your time in doing that shot. Yeah, so do remember to turn that off because I think over now, the software part of it, if you just take that photo and go back to your computer and you post-process it, the software part has actually much better way of handling noise or doing the noise reduction now. So one example that Peng Xiong has actually shared before in previous session is the Topaz denoise AI. That is something that you can also take a look at. So you can go to topazlabs.com, TOPAZLABS.com. So that's the site where you can look at the noise reduction, and then that will help you. Okay. Yeah.
Then next is to turn on your highlight alert. Okay, this is very important. Actually, in all photography genres, this is very important to me because if a photo is overexposed, means there's no details. There's nothing you can do with it. You can't even edit. It's useless. Okay, so overexposed is very important to know. That's why owning a highlight alert, basically what it does is that if you on this alert on your camera, okay, when your photo is overexposed, then there'll be a blinking white patch on your photo. So if you preview your pictures and you see a blinking, flashing white part, means that portion is actually overexposed. So this is very important, especially when you're doing shooting Milky Way in Singapore. Okay, because in Singapore, previous session I teach you that you must shoot it with a manner that is close to overexposed, but not overexposed. Okay, so having this alert on allows you to know whether your picture is overexposed or not overexposed. Okay, even if you are taking normal photography, this also helps. Okay, it's very important to turn it on. Okay, knowing your camera limits. Okay, because every camera models will have their own limitation. One of the very funny one that I encountered was the Leica camera. Okay, is that one of the model, okay, if you on your ISO to maybe 2000, you cannot have long exposure. The most is 1 second. Okay, so you can't use it to shoot astro. So you must know your camera limitation. You must know it before you go. Don't go to the spot that you say, oh, cannot work. Okay, and another problem is that just now Julian mentioned about 1 hour exposure. Not every camera can handle 1 hour exposure. Like especially I tried before on a Nikon D90 and an Olympus, don't know which model. If you expose to 1 hour, the sensor will become overheated and the picture come out is all red. So you must know your camera limitation. So if you know your camera cannot take 1 hour exposure, maybe you can try half an hour or 15 minutes. So you have to know your camera limits. Okay? And some cameras can't even go for more than 30 seconds exposure. Don't have a bulk mode. Okay? Because if you want to take exposure that's more than 30 minutes or more than 30 seconds, you need to go to bulk mode. Okay? But some cameras don't even have a bulk mode. So you must be careful.
Mm.
Or maybe you can't find the bulb mode, but it's somewhere out there but I can't find. I encountered before. Okay. And lens cap. Why lens cap is actually a camera setting? Okay, because a lot of time in my group, okay, my participants come to me. How come I try a lot of shots? My picture all black and cannot see anything. Then I was wondering as I try again. The setting okay. Then I go look at the lens. Oh, the lens cap is still on. So actually, lens cap is something that we use it to protect our lens, but always remember to take it out when you don't need it. As for me, myself, normally I don't use any lens cap. I always go capless. Only the lens I'm using that have lens cap is those like the 12mm because it's bulging out. Without lens cap, it's very dangerous. So yeah, because the other lens I have is I use the filter to protect it. That's the most I replace the filter.
Mm.
So lens cap is something that I must always take care. Okay, it's good to have it, but you must make sure you remove it when you take a shot.
Right.
Okay, when you're using lenses that have a zoom, okay, you must always be careful because basically we want to shoot astro with the widest angle that we have. So if you carry a 14-24mm lens, okay, and if you accidentally set to 16mm or 18mm without knowing it, so every shot you come out is already 18mm. You actually want 14mm, but end up the angle of it become narrower. So happened to me before myself personally. So you always must remember to even switch it to the widest. Okay, and sometimes it may even like instead of 14mm you go to 24, so it become like too narrow. You won't even notice it. Okay, and if you go to 24mm, then the settings of your shutter speed will affect your stars become trail. Okay, so you must always be careful with your focal length. Always remember to set it correctly. Okay, so to prevent that, I stopped using zoom lens for my astro. I use prime lens. Okay, using intervolometer. Okay, the one that you see on this picture is called intervolometer. Okay, this device is very useful for taking astro, especially you are doing time lapse or doing star trail, because this guy can automate your shutter release to shoot the picture at an interval of a fixed interval and the number of shots that you want, okay, without you attending to it. So you just set the interval, the duration, the number of shots, you play back, it will shoot for you and press for you every interval that you want. So it's actually very convenient and useful. So but most of the time, the problem I encounter is that a lot of the object don't know how to use this. So that's why it's good to practice and learn how to use it before the shoot. Okay, familiar with the button. Yeah. Okay, minimum use of torchlight. Okay, because when you're in the dark, okay, I found that if you on the torchlight, okay, tendency is that you will blind yourself. You will disable your ability to see in the dark. Okay, so if you try a torchlight, you off it. Okay, you suddenly see that you actually are blind for a few seconds, somewhere to a few minutes. Okay, so you will disable your ability to actually to find out where the Milky Way is, where the star is, or how to set up stuff. So normally I try not to use torchlight as much as possible, okay, when setting up. Okay. So what I do, basically I use this app called Flashlight on my handphone. So basically what this software does is that you can actually set your screen of your phone. Let me show you on the camera. Okay, the app is something like this. I'm not sure you can see the app. Okay, basically I can change the screen of my color to a different color. Let me see if I can change it to. Let me see. I change to red color. So my whole screen is red color now.
Right.
Yeah. If I want to have a different color, I want to have a green color instead. I change my whole screen to green. So if I want white color, so this screen becomes white color. So basically, this app is very useful. Is that you can use your handphone screen to shine on the camera so they can see the settings without blinding yourself. Plus this light is not so bright. It's quite dim, so you can even control the brightness. Okay? So it's very useful. It's better than the torchlight that I have if you want to set up. And I even use this screen, okay, to do light painting. Imagine this photo, you see the flowers, basically it's painted by this white light here. So you can use the light of this screen to paint the foreground. Okay? So this actually is very useful.
I see. Peng Chiong, then the other thing is that because sometimes where, or rather pre-COVID time, you know, everyone goes to, for example, like Bromo and they shoot as a group. So if they use like a torchlight, and that will also affect the exposure of other people. Like for example, they may already start on the exposure and then somebody take out a torchlight. And that could possibly also spoil the exposure of the other person doing the shot, right?
Yes. One of the common problems is that if you shine a torchlight when you're setting up, you will spoil the foreground. Okay, you'll make the foreground like some patch of white color or red color. Okay, and you may even create lens flare for the next one, the one next to you. Because when you shine, right, your light doesn't go into the camera, but it has spill light, so it becomes a lens flare. So you affect the picture of the person as well.
Right.
So this is the kind of etiquette that we need to practice when we do astro. So minimize the use of torchlight is actually good. That's why with minimize the use of torchlight, you must be able to set up your stuff and gear and settings all in the dark.
Right. Yeah. So this
it's not. It's,
yeah. Sorry. So this application is available for iOS and also for Android.
iOS have their own version, but Android, this one is a free version also. Actually, if you search for flashlight, there's a lot of apps. Try to look for one that have a minimum advertisements, because a lot of other apps sometimes I try. There's a lot of advertisements I use for a while. It can be advertisement very annoying.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the one that I found that have minimum number of ads.
Thank you. So that's golden tip number 3.
Yeah. So light pollution is very critical when you're shooting astro, because got one of the case I was in a group came after us. The group literally got no light discipline. They shine torchlight all over the place, so I not spoil all my photos. So become very angry. But I can't scold them because it's a public space.
Right.
Yeah. So let's go to lens. Okay. Last week I promised about showing again on the lens. Okay. So basically for lens, I would recommend anything focal length between 12 mm to 20 mm. Okay, because astro for this Milky Way, the wider angle, okay, allows you to have the Milky Way to compose with the foreground. Okay, if you use the focal length that is more than 20 mm, high chance is that you only get the Milky Way. You do not get the foreground. Okay, so basically to have a wide angle is to allow you to have a foreground plus the Milky Way. But if you're just interested in the Milky Way, it's fine to go more than 20 mm. Okay, then just has a Milky Way, but no foreground. Okay, or minimum foreground. Okay, and for lenses, it's always recommended to have lens that actually have this focusing distance gauge on the lens. Okay, those without this is not recommended at all, because you're not able to do manual focus good enough. Okay, the purpose of having this focusing gauge with the distance marking there is to allow you to do manual focusing easily. Okay, so it's good to have this focusing distance gauge. Okay, and for me myself, I prefer to have a prime lens compared to a zoom lens, because at least I won't accidentally set my focusing focal length to a different one. Okay, and one more thing is that prime lens basically they are more smaller and lighter. Okay, and easier to carry around. Yeah, I can afford to carry 2. Because every trip I carry 2 cameras, 2 lenses. So one lens for my one camera, the other is for my other camera. So it's like it's very convenient. And it's light as well. Yes, you can use other lenses, but these are the lenses that actually I prefer to use. Okay? And the one on the left, basically it's not brand particular. You can buy any mount you want. You can buy Sony mount, you can buy Nikon mount. They also have Olympus mount, and even also have this Nikon mount here. Okay? So any mount they mostly they have. You can mount on any cameras as long as you buy the correct mount for your camera. Okay, any questions? Okay. So lastly is this heat strike, which I find it very important if you're doing astro, because most of the time in the astro you're doing in the open, whereby there's a vegetation and the lens condense quite easily. So this actually helps to keep the lens warm and don't condense on the surface. Okay. So this is quite useful, and it's powered by a power bank. So you can just bring a few power bank and you can survive for a night. Yeah. So any question for this? I think we can keep it to the next part of this session. We can ask me anything.
Okay, thank you, Peng Xiong. I think that the first part has been very exciting with you sharing quite a number of these golden tips based on your experience out there in the field. Because I think some of this is that people will not be aware until they really got into the situation, you know, and they will remember it after that. So you have technically saved everyone here, you know, quite a bit of walking in a sense, you know, with your experience. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so now to our friends here with us today, do you have any questions in regards to astrophotography? So you can ask anything to Peng Xiong, okay, in terms of astrophotography, any burning questions that you have or anything that you just want to ask. So we can open this up to you guys. If you have any, please key them into the chat and then we will pick it up, okay? Yeah, thank you. So meanwhile, Peng Xiong, while our friends here today are keying the questions in, we do have some questions tabulated over the sessions, okay? And then we have some of this that I can probably just ask on their behalf, okay? Yeah, so the thing is that one questions on equipment is, what is the range of the ISO that you will recommend, okay? And what ISO would you normally start with?
Okay, for ISO, typically you can start from 1006 with 1600, okay? And you can go up to as high as 6400. Okay? I have tried even up to 12,000.
12,000 to 12,800.
Yes,
Right.
I will try that. So it all depends on the location you're in, how much light you have for the foreground. Because basically that's for the foreground, and how long you can stay there to shoot. Okay? Because sometimes if you can take the scene, you can stay for long. Okay, what I can do normally, what I do is that I start off with around ISO 2000 to get the Milky Way.
Right.
Okay, then I will have one more at 1006 or maybe slightly lower ISO and expose for 2 minutes to 5 minutes just to get the foreground. Then I go and stack. Yes. But if you don't have the luxury to stay for so long, typically I'll start with 2000 and go maybe to 3000 plus to 4000. This is the range I always play around with.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think that that will give a good head start for people who are looking at starting, you know, astrophotography or when they are in the field. Okay. So we have a question from Chana here. Chana is asking that where you can shoot in Singapore. I think this is a golden question, okay? Because this question will come out in every session. So where can you shoot in Singapore? Because Singapore, technically, people will think that the light pollution is very bad and we can't do that, right? Yeah. So can you just give us some tips like where you shoot and what to take note of?
Yep. And just sound like what Julian had mentioned, we plan to go Pulau Ubin. So that's one of the choice that we can go. So keep that in mind. So maybe we can, when it's opening up, we can go together. And the next closest one that is I can think of is Marina Barrage. Okay? Because that place is central and it's at the very close to the shore. And there's a foreground that's I think iconic. Okay? And the other side of the shore basically is less light polluted. Okay? So Marina Barrage is quite a good place for me. Then if you can go to places that is like, for example, Labrador Park, also quite okay.
Mm.
because the other side basically is just Jurong Island. You see some lighted foreground. And if you can go to this Lim Chu Kang area, cemetery, actually is good because it's quite less light polluted. And I know there's in Lim Chu Kang area there's some bumpy road, those are dirt road. If you can cycle in or drive in, okay, at the shore, actually it's quite nice. It's quite less light polluted, but it's
Mm.
very deserted, so must be careful if you go there. And if you stay in the west side, I know west Jurong Lake also not bad. There's a lot of
Right.
nice foreground.
Yes.
Then on the east side, you can try the East Coast Park near the car park F or G, the area.
Mm.
Car park F and G is very near to the airport side.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Peng Xiong. And Jana, and also, of course, thank you to my co-host Ming Wei for sharing the YouTube link for the session where you have actually covered on astrophotography in Singapore. So, folks, if you are interested to really go into the subject of what to do for astrophotography in Singapore, you can actually refer to the YouTube link that is found in your chat here, okay, in the chat box. Yeah, so just replay that session and you will have all the golden tips for you over there. Okay, so I hope that answered your questions, Chana. And let's take the questions from, we have one more questions from, let's see, from Naiji. And Naiji was actually asking, is videoing of Milky Way movement possible? Or you can only take photos and then you process, you know, like for example, time lapse or things like that to do it into a video.
Okay, because you need at least 30 seconds to expose for myself. So videoing, I guess, is not a good choice to capture the Milky Way. So doing time lapse is one of the better way to get the Milky Way into a video. So if you take time lapse basically just to take the Milky Way shots, okay, repeatedly for maybe 1 hour. You can combine all these shots and become a video. So those videos that you see online that the Milky Way is moving, basically these are time-lapse video.
Mm. Yeah. Hope that answer your question, Naiji. Yeah. So I think that because of the exposure for every single frame, you will need about 30 seconds to do that, right? Yeah. So that's why you have to basically compile all the shots together to create a video. And I think the sensitivity of the video recorders, okay, are not sensitive enough as of now to record the Milky Way on a very, very short timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, yeah.
Yes. So that's the reason why. Okay. Do we have any other questions from our friends here today? Okay. If not, I still have some more questions for you, Peng Xiong. So somebody was also asking, would you recommend using a fisheye lens, you know, for astrophotography?
Okay. Personally, I do not like to use fisheye on landscape. Okay. Because fisheye sometimes can make your landscape distorted. Okay. Especially the horizon become curvy. So you may need to do some Photoshop or some software editing to defish it.
Defish it. Okay. To bring the fish out of the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I remember Photoshop got this option called defish. I can't remember because I used it before. Okay. Yeah. So personally, I do not like to use fisheye for landscape. Okay. Fisheye basically for some conceptual shoot is not bad, or some abstract shoot is not bad, but not for astro. I don't really like it.
Right. Okay. I see. That's interesting. Yes. But would you consider, say, doing things like maybe because astrophotography is against the sky, right? So it's like black and white. Would you do maybe, for example, astro in black and white? You know, yeah. So to give a different dimension rather than just in color.
Okay, because the beauty of the core of Milky Way, the galactical center, with the part that we always shoot, okay, is rich in a lot of colors, especially red color and blue and yellow. So if you do it in black and white, it doesn't bring out the beauty of the Milky Way.
Okay.
I have tried converting my Milky Way shot to black and white, and I don't really like it. I even tried shooting Milky Way with infrared modified camera.
Okay.
Doesn't look nice. Doesn't look
All
nice.
right. Okay. Yeah. I think that's a very good point because as photographers, we always try to be creative using different tools, for example, like black and white, or even where you mentioned infrared, right? But then at the end of the day, you still choose color because that is the one that is the most faithful reproduction of what you see or what you hope to see, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
To present the beauty of the Milky Way's galactical center.
Right. Okay. That's a good point. Okay. Any other questions? Wow. Wow. I'm waiting for our friends to key in the questions. Okay. I have more questions for you, Peng Xiu,
Okay.
just from all the sessions. Yeah.
Okay.
So, what apps do you use for your astrophotography? What are the one you personally use?
Okay. The very very basic one or commonly used one I always use is Stellarium. Okay.
Stellarium.
Or
Okay.
PhotoPills.
Or
If on
photo.
iPhone normally I'll use PhotoPill because PhotoPill got a lot of features. Okay.
Mm,
Stellarium is easy to use, just it's very convenient. Yeah. So these two apps I use it very frequently. It's always on my phone. Okay. Never leave my phone.
right. Okay. Cool. And then post-processing, you use Photoshop mainly, right?
Yeah, for post processing, currently I'm using mainly Photoshop for my this Milky Way editing. If I'm doing star trail, I would like to use star stacks because they can give me comet effect.
Right. Okay.
Yes, yeah,
I see. Yeah. Okay. Star Stacks is the other one that you use. Okay. Right.
yes.
So and there's one questions also that I think it's quite common. People will just want to ask this is that can they use the same setting for Northern Lights photography because it's also at night, right? And then it's shooting the sky. Yeah. So would they be able to use the same settings?
Okay. For me personally, I haven't tried shooting aurora. Okay, okay, and but from the theory, okay, and I saw a lot of videos on aurora. Is that it's actually quite moving.
Mm,
Okay, so basically no matter what kind of setting you shoot, you'll see it being blur, smooth. Okay. Okay. But when you want to shoot aurora, sometimes there's an opportunity that you can shoot aurora with stars or aurora with the Milky Way. Okay. You would like the stars or the Milky Way to be shot. Okay. So that's why you actually can use the same setting that you did in this Milky Way shooting, okay,
mm,
to shoot aurora. Okay.
right.
Whereby you exposure of around 20 to 30 seconds
Mm,
and with a setting of maybe f2.8
mm.
and ISO 2000 kind of setting, you can do it the same then theoretically in with Aurora.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. And do remember your lens warmer. Must bring along the lens warmer.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
always very cold there. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So and then I think that you have covered so much, and obviously everyone knows that you bring groups out of the country for astrophotogram for astro, and also basically in Singapore too. When I think once things get to loosen up a bit, at least locally, we will be able to organize trips like that, right? Okay, but
Yes.
overseas, you also bring trips through Top Liners Club. Because you actually need a licensed travel agency to allow that
Yes.
to happen. Okay, so what happened is that can I ask, for example, where would you recommend to go? Based on your personal preferences of the areas around the region.
Okay. I guess now the more high chance and nearest you can go, I would suggest you can go to Mercy, the
Mercy.
nearest,
Mm,
and it's very near. And the thing is that it's very like around 3 hours drive from Singapore, and it's the least light polluted portion in Malaysia.
right.
And the there's resort that is very near to the shore whereby you can shoot the Milky Way without even traveling. You stay in the
Mm.
room, just go out of the room and set up and then shoot.
Or
So
in the
Mercy is
safety and comfort of your room, and then you can.
yes, you
Okay.
can set up for time lapse and go to your room and sleep and come back and check.
Well, that's the most ideal situation. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So
but
Mercy is yeah.
But provided only when Malaysia opens up for leisure travelers, then we can go out
Mm,
there lah.
yeah, but Malaysia seems to have a much higher chance than any other country now.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm. And provided Singapore say yes lah.
yes. And the second place I would like to go is maybe Ubon, Thailand.
Okay.
Yeah, because Thailand basically they have quite nice foreground, and you have a lot of nice places to shoot with minimum light pollution.
Mm,
And because over there, it's not so crowded. Every place I go is quite spacious. Even
right.
if there's people, you can move somewhere else and shoot. It's quite easy to find space.
Mm,
So maybe I can show you some photos that I have. Maybe you can just on the place I recommend. Let me share my screen.
okay, cool. Let's take a look.
Okay, I guess you see this. It's actually in Ubon. Okay,
Mm,
it's a temple that have a fluorescent painting on the temple and the ground. So at night, if you do star show here, it's very nice. Have a
right.
nice foreground. See, the temple have all rounded patterns. So every corner you will get nice angle. So this from this angle you can see the Milky Way. Okay? Then in Ubon, there's this place where there's these four little popular rocks. Okay?
Mm,
They are left over for many years. Okay? And the place is so big, you can move around and get all different angles.
right.
Then there's this waterfall that I think so far we haven't been there yet. It's a very nice place. Okay? You guys have nice waterfall with Milky Way in the foreground.
Mm. Do you
Then
do you have a lot of people there? You know, a lot of photographers or things like that?
hey, basically for this one, you have to stay in the resort there in order to shoot this. And there's not much room there. So basically, uh, so I think we would have much photographer there. Because the time I went there, only my group itself,
I
four
see.
of us shooting there.
So in terms of social distancing is not a problem at all.
It's quite okay. Yeah, because the resort don't have much room, so you can't be booking all the rooms. So that's why it's quite limited space for the
Mm,
room. So yeah,
mm. Okay, yeah.
yeah. Then the next nearest place you can go if we can go Bintan.
Mm,
Bintan is also quite a nearby place that we can go there in like 45 minutes. Yeah. So
mm.
this Blue Lagoon that we went last year, I think, yeah, with a group, we managed to get nice Milky Way. And over there we also can do steel wool. We
Right.
did steel wool there as well.
And
Yeah.
you can do fireworks also, eh?
Oh yes, they have fireworks. It's much better than Singapore's.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, okay. I see. That's quite interesting, yeah. Okay, where is
yeah,
this place also?
this is Mersing.
Mersing. Ah,
Yes.
okay.
So this foreground is just out of your room only. Just walk a bit out of your room, you can get this foreground.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
That's really wonderful, without straying too far, and then you are still at the comfort of your resort, and you can just go there and stay and take pictures. So,
Yes.
yeah, normally what I do overseas when I do shots like that is I just set up my camera outside. Then I use the intervalometer, I set everything, then I go and sleep. Then I wake up later and collect the camera.
Yeah. You can do that here actually, because there's no people around there.
Right.
It's a control area.
Okay.
They lock the gate at night.
I see.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay. So Peng Xiong, you mentioned earlier that you carried two tripods, two lenses, two camera bodies, and it seems like wow, your bag, you are like a Doraemon like that, So I know this question has come up before that, so I have pre-warned you. So
Okay.
do you actually have like packed your bag to show us how you actually carry your stuff?
Actually I packed it, but I'm not sure how to show it because okay.
You have to bring it quite close to your body so we could actually see it if
Okay.
you just flip it open. Yeah.
Basically I using this think tank, okay, Sheetwalker Pro, okay,
Mm,
this bag, this size,
mm,
okay. And if you open the bag, basically if you look closely, this is how my bag is being packed. Okay. My 1DX here,
yeah.
okay. My this okay, my 5D Mark III is here. Mark
Okay,
4.
right.
Okay,
Mm,
and I even have got my telephoto lens,
okay,
my two prime lens.
right.
Okay. Okay, basically for the back, right, a lot of them have a misunderstanding that they pick the lens this way. Normally
Mm,
I pick it standing up. So by
okay.
picking up standing up, you can pack more lens.
Mm,
So actually in the space I can pack 3 lens in my, if I
right.
don't want to put the long lens, I can put 3 lens. So basically every lens I have a pouch. So which means I can actually forego the padding. I put
Mm,
all in a pouch, then I put them together. So basically in this bag, okay, I can put up to 4 lenses in this bag and 2 cameras. So basically I have 4 lenses and 2 cameras in this bag.
right.
Okay, I sometimes I even pack a drone inside.
Mm. Oh,
So
even
basically this, yeah, I pack my Mavic Pro inside. So basically one compartment become my Mavic Pro here.
mm,
Okay, then my long lens. Then I put my, sometimes because I have pouches, right? So basically what I do, I stack my lens over my 200 mm.
okay.
So if
I see.
I want to have more lens, I can even stack it up.
Mm,
Because with the padding, it actually helps you to cushion, so it will not against each other.
right.
So basically I can have a lot of lens and even have a drone inside.
So I think that's a golden tip, you know. So other than the compartment that you use for your camera bag, you folks can also go out to get some of those pouches, yeah, those
Yes.
cushion pouch, and then you can put your lenses in, so that you can actually pack more, you know, or pack some other items inside there where you need for the trip. You know, then
Yeah,
you can just carry that onto the flights, for example. You know,
yeah,
so anything that is carry on is not included as part of your weight in a way, right?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
the pouches like have cushion, it
Mm,
actually give you more space.
right.
Because if you use the padding, right, you will limit your space. You actually square out of space, become you can pack lesser stuff inside the camera body, the
Mm,
bag.
mm,
But my bag normally bag weight is very heavy. It's more
mm.
than 10 kg.
Right. Okay. So thank you, Peng Xiong, for giving us an insight into your bag. You know, yeah. So
Yes.
that's quite a good thing. And then the next question is: would you actually teach your participants on processing how to post process the shots after a trip?
Okay,
Because
normally,
normally, yeah, normally
yes.
on a trip, right? People go on a photo trip. They just go, okay, they shoot on the spot. They come back, okay, bye bye, see you in the next trip, and then that's it, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But Astro, you need quite a bit of post processing. Yeah. So do you
Yes.
do that?
Yes. Especially for Bromo trips. Okay,
Mm,
because Bromo trip, you have 4 days, 3 days to 4 days of shooting, depending on the trip. So you will come up with lots of Milky Way shots. Because Milky in Bromo, the chances of getting Milky Way is close to 90%.
mm,
Okay? So basically, you out of 3 days, you maybe at least have 2 days of Milky Way. The most one day cloudy as well. So you have a lot of shots. So
mm.
normally what I tell them that if you come back, we use your photo as a practice. We do a practice session together. So
Right.
for every trip of my Bromo trip, I will have a session after the trip. Okay. Normally I hold it in SDW.
Mm.
Okay.
As
But
Sony
with,
SDW, huh? Mm.
yes,
The
but I
Sony
think now
platform.
maybe you can do it in Zoom. Yeah. So if they don't allow, if the classroom don't allow, we can do it in Zoom.
Right.
Okay. So because all of them will have their own photos. If not, I can give you my photo as an example. So
Mm.
yeah. So normally during the session, I will give them two choice. I give them my sample photos for practice. Okay, if they bring along their photo, they can do it as well.
Right.
And I go in step by step. So basically, after the workshop, okay, you know how to shoot, you got photo, and you can know how to edit.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it becomes a complete thing, which is
yes,
important. Mm.
yes. And my session always allow repeat. So for example, if from my past fever trip, and you feel like you want to repeat the workshop to learn how to refresh your editing, you're always welcome to join the next few session. You can
Mm.
always contact me. If there's space, I'll slot you in.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
Or alternatively, you can also contact us, right? Top liners.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
because we will organize these sessions also on behalf of Peng Xiong to ensure that everyone will also benefit from this session. Yeah, so do keep a lookout on our website. Okay, that is at toplinersclub.com. And do keep a lookout. Once things start to open up, we'll be organizing courses or even overseas trip. Or you can look up in the Meetup application where you all came from. Okay, and we'll be posting up the events over there too. Okay, yeah. So before we say goodbye to this entire series, okay, I'm just going to give another 30 seconds before we end this. And I think that thank you very much for Peng Xiong for sharing with us so many things, you know, unselfishly on astrophotography. And yeah, Vivian would also like to say thank you to you. She has keyed into the chat, and I'm sure that's the sentiments of a lot of our friends too. Okay, so thank you so much, Peng Xiong. All right, yeah, we'll just wait for the last few seconds. Okay, yeah, and with that, we just hope that everyone will have a great week ahead. Okay, and do keep a lookout on other sessions that we have from Top Liners, especially in terms of countries like Switzerland and also the Africa part where we are doing some of the webinars. If you're interested, you can also join us over there. Okay, yeah. So I don't see any more questions coming in, Peng Xiong. So I'd like to say thank you, yeah, to you, and thank you to all our friends for joining us. Have a great week ahead, okay? And we'll see you again somewhere in one of these webinars, or even better, out there for one of the trips, okay? Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye.